Want to make sure to shout out everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody for hopping in, for joining, and make sure that you guys chime in with the comments. We'll make sure to do a much better job of highlighting those this week than what we did last week. We learned a lesson. We learned a valuable lesson last week in terms of our execution here. The most improvement you make is from week 1 to week 2. And that's what we're going to showcase tonight. So keep the comments coming. If you guys have questions, please feel free to throw those out. We'll get back to those, but yeah, man, definitely a good win. And again, now that we're a few days removed from the victory, just can't say it enough, but in a lot of ways, it was just kind of an ideal game for Utah in terms of what they needed to accomplish. And that gas tank, man, that's fully refueled, man. That was tough. That was a tough wordplay there. But yeah, dude, it was great. It was a big time win for Utah, and I think everybody's feeling quite recharged after that one. So my guy, love you, Chase. Love you, brother. Bennett, dude, what are you thinking after that? Now that we're a few days removed, what do you think of the game? Hindsight, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, feels really good to get that game one out of the way. See some of those questions that we had answered in a manner that I don't think many of us truly deep in our souls predicted. That was quite the night. It was fun.
Yeah, again, like I thought it was going to be pretty competitive, but man, it was competitive for a quarter. It was pretty. Utah was pretty much in control of that thing. So, yeah, again, just a quick reminder: keep the comments coming. We'll make sure to highlight those and all that. But let's get into it, Bennett, and get this thing rolling. So, on tonight's episode, we're going to go through some lessons learned from last week. We'll dive into. I don't think this weekend's matchup is going to be all that difficult for Utah, given just the talent discrepancy between Utah and Cal Poly. But we'll talk about things that we want to see this week. And I think there's some, important benchmarks that they need to hit, some other things that we would love to see. And then obviously, we'll continue with our over under, running through those. And I think we'll set a good set of expectations going into the game with those over-unders. And then obviously we'll take a quick look throughout the rest of the Big 12 this week. And there's a couple marquee games and I think some important ones for the conference, but we'll run through the Big 12 slate this weekend as well. But let's dive into it. Bennett, let's get into what we learned from last week in Utah's win over UCLA 43-10 with 3 lessons learned. You want to go ahead, get us rolling there with what lesson number 1 was that you learned last week?
Yeah, I'd say most importantly, we learned, yes, Devin Dampier came from the Mountain West, and yes, he's good enough to play at the P4 level. As much as that might hurt some people's feelings, that's the truth.
Yeah. Man, how about that, dude, to come out the way that he did, perform the way that he did. Obviously, he's now catapulted himself into the Heisman conversation where, you look across the interwebs and you're just seeing him on list after list after list. He was on the Heisman Trophy podcast that dropped today, which awesome. Obviously a podcast you want to be a guest on. I don't know how indicative it is of, his genuine odds, but still you'd rather be on that podcast than not. So that was cool. And I think that obviously there's a lot of excitement about what he's going to bring to the table, and certainly learned that you can make that transition. And I echoed that. One thing I learned this week was that Utah was not all that concerned about UCLA's receivers or their passing game. And, what I think, you go back to Monday with the press conference with Kyle Whittingham. I asked him, about how they're going to determine Smith Snowden's usage and whether that will be determined by matchups and what those matchups are going to look like. So I think it's pretty indicative and maybe damning of UCLA and their receivers that Utah did not feel the need to utilize Smith Snowden on that side of the ball as like they did, like 22 snaps split pretty evenly offensively and defensively. But I think that says a lot about how they felt going into that game. I think they felt they could win that game in the trenches, which they did. 60% pressure rate. They obviously felt good about their ability to get to the quarterback, and that allowed them to utilize Smith on the offensive side a little bit more than what we were anticipating going into that game. I think we were all kind of interested in seeing Smith Snowden versus Mikey Matthews. But frankly, I don't think Mikey Matthews strikes fear in a lot of people. So we'll see. Obviously, moving forward, there's going to be some matchups. Arizona State with Jordan Tyson. I anticipate Smith seeing some a heavy dose of time there. Texas Tech the next week with Caleb Douglas. We're going to see Smith, and they're going to be smart with how they utilize them. But that was the lesson that I learned, with what we heard from Kyle Whittingham on Monday, and how they're kind of determining how they're going to use Smith and Lander and those guys. And I thought that was pretty telling, pretty revealing in terms of how they felt about UCLA and those receivers.
Yeah. My second point is we learned why. We heard that comment about Dampier having 8 seconds back there. We saw that O-line is truly given our guy all day in the backfield. And on top of him being given all day, he also creates on his own. Think back to that there was a play where he pretty much went all the way back down to like his goal line and then came back around and got he got like 3-4 yards out of.
He ran 35 yards for a 4-yard gain, and it was incredible.
Yeah, and kept the jersey clean. No sacks on the night. He could have went down there, and it's just he has a lot of time, and that'll be fun as he just finds more comfort with his receivers and tight ends and whatnot.
What was interesting? So if you listen to the podcast episode earlier today with Cam Miller, I think or maybe he tweeted this. I can't remember, but we talked about it for sure. But he shared that Utah had a 5.93 second split to pressure, so it took UCLA 5.9 seconds to get pressure on Devin Dampier. And he also shared in the episode, John Henry Daly had a couple of pressures that clocked in under 2.5 seconds. So again, just kind of showing you the difference between what Utah has, on the offensive line and what they have the defensive line compared to what they were competing against with UCLA. They felt really good about their ability to control the trenches on both sides of the ball, which they did.
And for context, like about 3 seconds is what you can plan for, like on average in college football back there. So to have almost 6 seconds, double that, that's insane.
That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. All right, next lesson. Lesson number 2 for me. Quadruple D's. We like quadruple D's. Devin demands defensive discipline. I got a video here. Let me that was dumb. That was so dumb. Don't judge me too harshly here. But I want to show you guys a clip here from last season. This is from Utah versus TCU, and obviously we remember this game. It was a rough one, and I want to highlight something here. So I'm going to run this clip here. You see Utah, they've motioned Brent, and I'm going to pause it right here. So look at this right here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 defenders in this little area, right? This little area. And, we talk so much about, well, how good was the offensive line last year, really? Like, if they couldn't generate movement, how do you expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 of those guys being tight ends to block 9 guys, right? So I'll run this here, and you can kind of get a feel for how aggressive TCU was in getting downhill. They're making contact a yard behind the line of scrimmage with him. And, luckily Mackay is able to get a yard. And so, I think like that, that was pretty telling. I'm going to show you a clip from the UCLA game now. I want you to kind of get a feel for the difference here, right? So, look, you've got, You've got one, two, three, four, five, six. You've got a little overhang safety here. He's about 7 yards deep. And just sort of watch kind of the difference. Watch the UCLA linebackers and how unaggressive they are getting downhill. You see kind of the sequencing of blocks, the block timing, and all that sort of stuff. This is what I mean. So, and as I went back and watched film, with the game, that was one thing that really stood out to me was that I was, pretty surprised, right? We saw the numbers 14 to 16 on third downs, a number of those being third and shorts, and we're just kind of thinking like the offensive line just overpowered them, mashing dudes, full body mashings, right? Hashtag we're gonna get that printed on a shirt somewhere, full body mashings. And look, the offensive line, they did get pushed, but I think another factor in Utah's run game success that we need to talk about is the presence of Devin Dampier and what he forces defenses to do, right? He forces them to be disciplined where they can't play on their toes and crashing down to take away that inside zone. So, you're going to see, defenders, backside defenders, what we were used to seeing last year is them just crashing down and getting to Mekhi Bernard from the backside. Now with Dampier, you have that threat where they have to play it a little safe. They have to play it a little more disciplined, and that's going to give Wayshawn, that's going to give Nakary that half second, split second longer to get to the line of scrimmage, to pick up positive yardage. And so that was something that I learned, in this game, was seeing the difference that Devin Dampier makes in terms of what it does for the offensive line, the space, the timing, in terms of the sequencing of blocks. That's going to be huge for Utah moving forward. Obviously, you're going to need Devin to get to connect on some shots down the field to preserve that space. But even then, right, just his running threat alone is going to preserve that split second for Wayshawn and Nakary to operate. You're muted.
I'm
It
new at
got
this.
you.
That's my excuse.
It got you.
You
It
got
got
my
you.
back. I thought I only did that at work. Anyway,
Word.
the sky is the limit. We learned that. I think it's really fun to just get on social, listen to people talk about Utah, get outside of like the Utah media market and just hear how everybody's talking about us. That's a lot of respect to the program and what we've built in Salt Lake, right? We had a step back last year, and we kind of used that mulligan even the year before that. So there's a lot of this like what's going on kind of stuff, and I think all everybody really needed to see was that we were going to be able to, as Dampier puts it, score the ball. And I think people believe that we can score the ball, and they know what happens when Utah can do so. So the sky is the limit. Obviously, a lot more that we want to see, but I really love that these next couple weeks we just get to enjoy the state of things right now before we have that showdown with Texas Tech, and then we start to see a little bit more how real is this. So sky's the limit.
Yeah. And then last lesson for me was, in terms of watching the film and all that, this was not, we've seen it a lot of tweets talking about Utah. This is midseason form. And, I couldn't disagree more in terms of going back and watching it. This was a lot of simple stuff. This was basic, easy stuff to execute. And Utah just went out and out-athleted them across the field on both sides of the ball. This was not a super complex. This was not, Dampier executing at a really high level. He completed 21 to 25 passes, but he left in a couple short, airmailed a couple, deep down the field. I shouldn't say airmailed, but hung up a couple of his throws deep down the field, got hung up in the air. And those are things where, as we get into the season with a few more weeks of practice and reps, that Utah's going to hit their midseason form, in a few weeks. So this was not Utah being, a grade type execution. There's still another level or two or three even for this group, and even referring to the offensive line, they've got another level to get to in terms of their ability to execute and clean things up and provide more push. So that was another thing that I learned in going back and watching this game was, this is not midseason form level execution. There is still a lot of things that they can do to enhance the product and enhance the level of execution.
Yeah, kind of wild to think that there's still a lot of room to grow from what we just saw. So
Yeah.
love that. Should we get into the winning recipe then?
Yeah. Let's get into that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's anything, the chat, if anything that you learned, anything that you want to share, put it in the chat, put it in the comments, whatever.
Yeah.
Always like hearing from you guys. There's a lot of you that know ball and can bring good perspectives and things like that. So, but yeah, we'll get into the winning recipe. Our three ingredients. I don't want to say to win the things that we need to see to win, because barring something, just it's not even worth entertaining. We're gonna win this game, right? So let's say the three things that we want to see on our plate. Those three ingredients. What do you got first, Bartle?
For me, this one, I talked about this in an episode of, a couple weeks ago, but for me, I want to see a big yards per play advantage for Utah. And, what I mean specifically by that is, average yards per play. There's usually a pretty big difference from, a Utah level type program to a Cal Poly, right? Because there's just a different level of size, athleticism, talent. And I want to see that. I want to see that big discrepancy, that big difference in terms of the average yards per play. And a big part of that is going to be the defense limiting Cal Poly, but I also want to see the offense come out and take some opportunities down the field. So, and talk in terms of what I want to see specifically, I want to see 6 first half passing explosives, right? Some big chunk plays through the air. We got a handful of those. We got a couple of those, I should say, between the run game and the passing game. I want to see 6 first half explosives in the passing game alone. So I think that's what I want to see, because I think that leads to, seeing the difference in terms of talent. I want to see Tobias Merriweather connect on a couple deep shots. I want to see Larry Simmons get involved down the field. And I think you don't need to run super complex things to get to create those explosives. That's what I'm getting at is I think, you should be able to create some big chunk yardage by just being bigger, faster, and more talented.
100%. I plugged Dave Young's comment in here. Got to see the wide receivers get in the game and gain some confidence. That's what these games are for, right? Confidence builders, to work on some of those things we need. And I think I'm totally with you on the pass game. I'd like to see some of that truck along. My first one, no injuries, plain and simple. You can get hurt in practice. You can get hurt against Alabama. You can get hurt against Cal Poly, right? I'd like to see us just get out nice and clean, plain and simple. Just get out healthy, and so we can get on to the next one.
Always a big must, right? Staying healthy. So I think that'll be a big one. Next one for me in terms of what I want to see the freshmen. I want to see Daniel Bray. I want to see Racing Guillory. I want to see Christian Thatcher, Cyrus Polu, Nathan Tillman. I want to see those guys, and get a feel for what they bring to the program. So, I've talked a lot about the defensive lineman, Carson Kafusi, Pupu Sepulona. We've talked a lot about those guys, but I want to see these others, right? I want to see Mana Carvalho and potentially Bryson Baker. I want to see those guys, get some time, get some reps, and get a feel for, where they're at in their game, what sort of play style they've got. Just seeing them on the field, I think would be a good thing for them. And obviously this is exactly the type of game where that allows that to happen. So that's what I want to see. I want to see the freshmen on Saturday, just to see them get some playing time this season.
Yeah, I love that. And I had a similar note, so I'm gonna pivot out of mine. I'm gonna go ahead. I said I want to see a lot of the 2s and 3s. I want to see the depth. Freshmen obviously being part of that, to give us a little something quick, different. I want to see Red Thunder. I want to see Red Thunder. Welcome back, Red Thunder. And I'm not the only one that wants to see Red Thunder. Richard Bradford brought it up and gave me my pivot. Anybody else excited? Yeah, Richard, I'm right there with you, man. Welcome
for
back.
sure. Get ready to learn boom Cal Poly. Get ready to learn. Boom. That'll be a fun one. Man, it'll be cool to see that. It'll be good to see Red Thunder 2. See the canyons. The cannons. Cannons. Man, good grief.
Cannon. I know what you're
La-
talking about.
I knew you would. All right, last thing for me. I want to see a packed house for Devin's first series. You know, he's talked a lot about how excited he is to see Rice Eccles and to see to perform in front of the fan base. And I hope the fan base is there to see him take the field for the first time. So I want to see a packed house, when he takes the field for the first time, just to really show out. And I think that would be big for him, big for the offense, big for everybody. So I hope that's something we see the fan base make a priority, is being in the building, in their seats for Devin's first series.
And if that's not enough motivation for you, we do have a flyover. So just get
Oh,
just get. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I had some buddies hitting me up. They're like, I'm gonna get to the tailgates around 3 p.m. Maybe like 3:30. Well, can I see you there? And I'm just like, I'm going in. I'm going in early. Be there for Dampier. Let's help him reign in this new era.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, my third one is I just want to see some continued offensive execution. You kind of started to touch on this, talking about how we did some B grade execution. There's still things to clean up. I just want to see us continue to kind of get what we want. It felt like against UCLA, we were able to go out, get what we want when we wanted it. When you play a team that's FCS level like Cal Poly, you're obviously going to score points. You're going to get things, but I just want to see it just be clean execution time and time again, because sound execution carries from opponent to opponent. So continued offensive execution is my third ingredient. That's the third thing I want to see on my plate.
Love it.
Yeah. If anybody else has some things they want to see, just keep plugging that in.
Keep chiming in, man.
Yeah, we're seeing some questions that are coming through. We're bookmarking some of these. We'll have Q&A at the end, so keep the questions coming in. We'll talk through them. But what do you think, Bart? We'll get into the over/under blitz here.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Devin Dampier, 2.5 quarters played, over or under?
I'm gonna go under. I think he's done at halftime. And if things go really well, right? Maybe even before that.
1 quarter and done. That'd be nice. Yeah, no, I'm with you on the under. I'm actually looking at a lot of these. We're in agreement. Wayshawn Parker, over or under 99.5 rushing yards.
I think he goes over. I think we see maybe a couple chunk plays that we didn't see last week. I think he generates those big yardage plays that were missing last week outside of his touchdown run. So I think he goes over this week.
Let's add a bonus one here. Chunk play. Wayshawn's longest run, over or under 44.5 yards.
Ooh. I'll go under.
But
I don't know. I have no feel for that. That's a tough one.
I'm gonna go over, just because I want to will that into existence. I want to see him hit that home run. I just want to see that home run, see that top end speed, see what he gets like out in the open. O-block, over or under half sack allowed.
I made the mistake of betting against him last week. I'm not doing it this week. No sacks.
Yeah.
First team, right? We're putting a qualifier on this one, right? First team, yeah.
First team. I took the under on this last week. I also boldly said that I don't think we're going to see a sack during all of our non-con play. So I'm going to keep that rolling, and I'm going to double down with an under.
Oh, here's a good one. Can we get one from the crowd?
Yeah, let's do it.
Over under 3 catches for Snowden.
I'm gonna go under, not because he's not gonna get looks. I just think that we're gonna shelf some of that, and we're gonna try out some other guys, because we know that Smith Snowden's just that dude. We know it's there. Let's find who else can do it.
3 is such a good number, because I think 3 is like the perfect number to get him involved, right? But also, oh man, yeah, I'll go. I want to go push because I think he gets 3, but I'll go under. I'll go under as well. Yeah, I'll go under. That's a good one, though.
Javelin Joe piggybacks off one of our questions later. We'll get there. We'll get there, Javelin. Not to just a quick spoiler, Curtis 60-yard field goal. We'll talk field goals in a second.
Isn't that
Tobias Murray,
exciting?
yeah,
Isn't that
yeah,
exciting? Now we can talk, kind of with some excitement about the field goals. Last year was like, oh god, here we go again.
yep. It's 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 4th and 6. Why are we going for it? Just cause, man. Can't kick, man. Um,
Uh,
all right. Tobias Merriweather. We both went over on the 69 and a half receiving yards last week. We think we get there this week.
what did I say? I can't even remember. I want to say over. Um, yeah, I think he goes over. Regardless of what I typed in the show plan, I think he goes over because he caught 36 yard pass, had another one that drew a defensive pass interference. I think he converts on at least two big chunk plays. So I'm going to go over.
I like it, and I'm following you on the over. I think it's going to be an emphasis to be able to make some connection a little further down the field. Uh, Over under 49 and a half points scored. Think we get that 50 burger?
I do. I should have worn my 50 burger shirt. I knew I should have. Dang it. Yeah, I think they go over. I'm thinking like 50 something, 54 points. What I'm thinking.
All right, so you think that you'll be wearing your 50 burger shirt for Monday's episode?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think we're going to put up the points, and I think we're going to get close to that before halftime. But head in the clouds, head in the clouds. Defense over under. This is the only one that we didn't say the same on that. Defense over under 6.5 points allowed.
I think over. I think I think we see a couple field goals late in the game. So I'm going to go over. A few field goals, couple more than two.
Okay, and I've got 2 field goals. I got under, so we're splitting it. No
Okay.
touchdowns. We're
Okay.
in agreement. No touchdowns,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which I'd love to see. Defense over or under 3.5 sacks. We got 4
Over.
last week.
Yeah. Over.
I went over. I went over as well. Who do you want to see a sack from more than anybody else?
Dude, I want to see. I want to see the other guys. I want to see Lance Holsclaw and Cash Dillon. I want to see Paul Fitzgerald. Get involved there.
I
Jackson
want
Jones, right? I want to see those guys get one.
I want poo poo.
Yeah, Poo would be great. How about Carson's sack last week? His half a sack, just powering through the right guard, dude. Like, how impressive was that? That was something, man.
Yeah, that's cool to see. Whenever you get your true freshman out there, getting things done
Like,
at a position that people had question marks about, like, are we good there? Like,
and
man,
look, like, I'm not trying to say like Carson played, at a great level the entire time he was out there. Like, I haven't gone back and watched him, specifically, but just that play alone, the way that he overpowered the right guard, who is like, he's like a third year guy, at the college level. He came from Florida State. But to see that from him and then to fight and get off the block and get to the quarterback, I thought was huge. So really excited about this young defensive tackle group. I hope we see Poo, get one too.
that'd be fun.
We've got a couple from the chat. You want to run through those
Yeah, I like this one. Over under 2 3-and-outs.
for the defense? Like in a
We're
quarter?
gonna. I'm guessing. I'm guessing. Widows Riley's talking about our offense. Are we gonna have 2 or more 3-and-outs? That's what I'm gonna take it as. If he clarifies, it clarifies. But I'll take that as, is Utah's offense going to have more than 2 3-and-outs on offense?
No. Under.
I'll go under. I could see us having maybe 1. I think
Yeah.
we'll get some first downs.
Yeah, and I think there's just with this offense, there's just a lot of simple things for them to do to generate, positive gains and to move the chain. So yeah, I would be surprised if we saw more than two.
Not quite an over under, but t-shirt, polo, or half sleeve hoodie for Witt.
T-shirt, man,
T-shirt,
T-shirt,
first
T-shirt.
game of the season.
September game, he's rocking a T-shirt.
Yeah, I agree. we have ones that piggyback off of what we have, so we can kind of combine those in a second. Let's go defense over under 1.5 takeaways.
Over. I said over for that. Yeah, I said over
Yep,
for that.
over. Uh, Dylan Curtis. I put the over under 54.5 yards. I'm going under this week. What do you got?
I'm going under. Yeah, I'm going under. Outside of a late, half situation like we saw last week, where, if time limits them, I just don't think the offense is going to be in a position where they're going to have to kick a long yard field goal outside of that type of situation. And I'm just not sure we see that this week. So I'm going to say under.
Yeah, that's where my head went. And then I put in there special teams or defensive touchdown. Yes or no?
Yes, I think
I
we see
said
one
yes.
tomorrow,
I said yes
Saturday.
too. And so some comments on this. Would you rather have a pick six touchdown or a kickoff return touchdown to start the game?
Ooh,
I'll go
that's a
kickoff return touchdown. I feel like we've been missing a little bit of that lately, and
that's a good
pick
one, Ty.
six is a guarantee. That's a good question. They both make me feel really good. I'll tell you what.
I uh I think because of an over under we had on last week's show, I think I put it out there that I felt pretty confident we'd see a pick six, within non-con. So yeah, if I could get it this week, I'm taking it. So I would rather see the pick six touchdown.
And then Richard said over or under 1.5 touchdowns for the defense and special teams. You think
Oh
we get?
man,
You think we get
that's a
two?
good line. Oh, that's a good line. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna play it safe because those are just rare. But
I'm
again, if
going with
there's a game to do it,
this is it. Yeah, I'm going with one. And what's your final score prediction?
I'm going 54-9.
Okay, we got close. I went 59-6.
59-6. Okay. There you go.
Um, Lodge 33 just threw us a good one. Over under
Oh,
3.5 4-second scrambles to keep the play alive behind the line of scrimmage. Devin for Heisman.
ooh. I'm gonna say under. I'm
I
gonna
think
say
he's
under.
I think he's going to have less pressure this week.
Yeah.
I
And
like it though, and
also,
that's
well, while we've got Lodge here, I want to make sure we highlight. So this is gonna be this week's hat giveaway. So this is from Lodge. So we're gonna put it out tomorrow. But this is gonna be the hat giveaway, the Lodge 33 hat giveaway this week. If you guess the score correctly, in fact, not even if you guess it correctly, whoever gets the closest this week, because we've got the hat, we're gonna do it. So we'll throw that out tomorrow. We'll get your score predictions, and we'll keep this thing rolling, man. But shout out to Lodge, brother.
yeah. We'll put out the contest details tomorrow, and we'll do the over unders as a tiebreaker in case we get one of those. But
Yeah,
yeah, good stuff. All right, should we talk Big 12? Should we go around the horn?
yeah, dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, don't need to go through every matchup, but some of the ones that stand out. Iowa at Iowa State. You got any initial thoughts on Iowa at Iowa State?
Yeah, I think this one is going to be ugly, but I like the way that Rocco Beck and that offense are playing right now. And I think with the balance that they have, running, passing, Carson Hansen, and Rocco Beck in that passing game, now that Beck has, some pass catchers kind of established, I like Iowa State in that matchup. So, they won two of the last three, and I think they make it three of the last four. So I'm picking Iowa State.
I'm with you. Iowa State just they just feel like they have a more well-rounded offense. I think they're going to score more than Iowa's 13 points. So that's really what it comes down to. Uh, a fun fact is Iowa State hasn't beat Iowa in Ames since 2011. So that's 6 in a row that they've lost at
Yeah.
home. I think they get it done at Jack Trice though. Uh, Baylor SMU.
Ooh, this one. Yeah, this one. Um, this one is interesting to me because, man, if Baylor loses, like, do we see Aranda's feet start to warm up again? Like, that's where I'm at. Like, with the money that they've invested, you start 0-2 against Auburn and SMU. That's a tough one, man. So, it's at SMU. I liked what I saw in moments from Baylor last week, but they also lost a pretty significant lineman, Jackie Marshall, to injury, and so that could be trouble. So I picked Baylor, but man, it was hard to convince myself to go that route. But I think Aranda has to win that game.
Yeah, I think it's a must win for Baylor. Otherwise, things start to spiral. Um, it's you know they lost to Auburn. You can live with that. You can honestly lose both of these and have just a fine season. But I think things start to get a little weird. You start in that 0-2 hole.
Yeah,
I've got Baylor in a bounce back game. I think Auburn was tough from a matchup perspective. I just SMU isn't Auburn in terms of size and physicality. I don't get me wrong. I think SMU is going to try to beat Baylor with a rushing attack. SMU
yeah.
can do that, but they're just not going to have the same success. I like Baylor in a close one to get back on track, and I think they get it done. I think we see Sawyer sling it around a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
You fanatic, man. Ice up, son. Ice up. Get that hammy right. Get that hammy right. Need you
can't wait.
need you healthy on Saturday.
I aspire to one day have people pull hammies to watch me talk. That's why he brought me on. That's why he brought me on.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know which one is Bartle and which one isn't.
That's true. That's true.
No, he does. He does actually.
Oklahoma State at Oregon. Any
Yeah,
chance?
dude. Sco Ducks.
It's
Next.
next. Yeah, just next.
Nah, I feel for Gundy. I like House Haney. I was excited for him because I felt like he could be a quarterback to, help them get right again. But that injury week one, that's tough, dude. So, even with House Haney, they're not going to win that game. And now without him, I just think that's kind of a deflates things even more. So Oregon's they're gonna take care of business. Go Ducks.
Yeah, as much as I'd love to see Gundy magic, there's no way. Zane Flores in his first start ever in
Yeah,
college at Autzen. No, I could say more, but no. Kansas at Mizzou. Rivalry game restored. They haven't played since 2011. They hate each other.
yeah.
Maybe not the people playing the game, but the fans in the stands. What do you
Yeah,
think?
this one will be interesting. So I'm gonna go with the hot hand and Jalen Daniels and the Jayhawks. Obviously going on the road to Missouri in a heated rivalry. I hope Jayhawks fans, I hope they travel because I think that would go a long way for the Jayhawks on the road because they've played at the comfort of home the last 2 weeks. But I think Daniels, the way that he's executed the last 2 weeks, I've been really impressed. And so, also Missouri. They've got a quarterback issue. Sam Horn is hurt, so we'll see. I'm going to go with Kansas, but Missouri is a heavy favorite in that one. I think they're 6.5 point favorites in that for a reason. So could be tough. I think it's going to be a wild game, but I think the Jayhawks pull it out.
Yeah, I like the Jayhawks here, and this is the show me game. Like I think for a lot of people trying to figure out is Kansas real or they not. This is a
Yeah,
spot for them to show that they can play somebody with size, with physicality, go into a road environment. Um, I think we're going to need to see a little bit more out of Jalen Daniels from a throw game for that to happen, and
for sure.
that's kind of my one quick key to that is can Jalen Daniels beat him through the air, or is it going to all be run attack? Because if that's all they bring to Columbia, it might be tough for them. Yeah. Last one I wanted to spotlight is Arizona State, Mississippi State.
This is one where I think what we saw last week from Arizona State. Um, NAU, how much are you genuinely preparing for NAU, right? I think with Mississippi State the following week, I think we see a much improved Sun Devil level of execution. I think they come out sharp. I think they start strong. Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson already synced up at a really high level. And I think what we see is that passing game and rushing attack really round into form against the Bulldogs. I think the Sun Devils go into Starkville and get the dub.
I like it. Real quick, I'll give you my take, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna give HD We're going to give him a bucket. We're going to give him 2 hours at the tailgate, and we're going to let him fundraise, putting the interlocking U's on
Let's
the
get
back
it
of the
done.
scoreboard.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it done,
HD,
man.
HD, we'll talk on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
We'll hammer out the
Lodge,
details.
Lodge will donate the bucket. See, we're coming together. Let's go. See, we are a get it done fan base. Yeah, Arizona State, they travel to Starkville. They're the underdog there, which is kind of surprising to me. But I mean, they didn't look great last week, and I'm with you. I put that to like it's a hard game to get up for. The Sun Devils just played in the college football playoff, like a game against Northern Arizona to those guys. Not something super exciting. They didn't have some off season where they're hungry and they're in prove it mode. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think they're going to come out more dialed in for week 2, and they better come out more dialed in because and more
Yeah.
focused because they're staying 90 minutes outside of Starkville because they don't want to stay at a hotel casino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, help our guy out here. Help him out.
Yeah, find AP at home. AP, you can just go
Yeah.
to that like chaos corners they call it, just like right as you enter Guardsman on that northwest corner, and
Maybe
just walk around and just look like you're there for a good time, and somebody's gonna grab you and
Yeah.
off you
As
go.
long as you act like you're supposed to be there, you're good. Normal.
Maybe bring some some tailgate
Some homies.
supplies and
Yeah.
you fit in, man. We're friendly bunch.
All right, dude. Yeah. Let's put a bow on this one. Um, appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll have this posted tomorrow. Also, I've got an interview that I did earlier today with Keanu Dawes that'll be dropping tomorrow as well, kind of midday type deal. So be looking for that as well. But we'll get this posted if you missed it. But appreciate everybody for hopping in. We'll be back at it post game Saturday with another live, and that'll be fun. So, Bennett, any final thoughts, dude, before we wrap this one up?
uh, we'll have a space tomorrow night so the fans open line, let people come in, talk ball every Thursday, every Saturday, post game, as Steve mentioned. That's gonna be fun. We've got a new setup, we got a new flow that we're gonna try out, and I really think you guys will be excited what we're putting together for the post game. So excited for you guys, love you guys, and thanks for listening.